In less than one single season, the Russell Wilson-Sean Payton mashup crashed, burned, flamed out, extinguished. Yes, a huge part of it was contractual, but the Broncos just paid Russ $39 million not to play for them this season, so he must have been horrible, terrible. But when perusing his numbers, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, led the league in fourth quarter comebacks, statistically, he looked pretty good. But there's a reason why they took the biggest cap hit in NFL history. Russ can only succeed in one kind of offense, his, which is why Payton and the Broncos had to move on. As we've talked about previously, the 35-year-old quarterback does not target the middle of the field because he's too short and can't see over his offensive line. The red in these graphs represent where he targets more than league average, the blue less than league average, and the white is at league average. Pro Football Focus hasn't posted 2023's graph yet, but when turning on the film, Russ still won't throw over the middle, and you can just feel Sean Payton tearing out what's left of his hair. First, we'll define exactly what the Russell Wilson offense is and why it drove Payton crazy. It consists of strictly just 3 categories: go balls outside, play action shot plays, and scrambling. To start with the first, Russ has always had one of the prettiest go balls in the league, long moon balls that scrape the top of the stadium ceiling and plop right into the hands of his receiver. On film, it looked like his deep accuracy fell off just a touch this past year, but it was still one of the strongest parts of his game. It's easier for him to see these go balls since they're outside away from his massive 6'5" offensive linemen. They're also easier to read pre-snap, and you're not going to get as much coverage rotation outside as you would the middle of the field. This Russ offense consists of a lot of alert go balls, which means there's a concept on one side that he's supposed to read, but pre-snap, or at times even post-snap if he gets a one-on-one matchup, so no safety over the top, he can ignore the concept completely and just throw the go deep. The problem is, Sean Payton's scheming up defenses, but Russ wouldn't and couldn't take advantage. Here the Broncos have their alert at the bottom with press man coverage and 3 receivers to the opposite side. Payton has designed this concept to push 4 strong to one side to overload the defense. With just 3 underneath defenders, the Texans don't have enough bodies to guard all 4 Broncos. And you could see Javonte Williams would like the ball. But when Russ sees a safety rotate down and he has the one-on-one, he ignores the concept that Payton schemed up and throws a go ball that just isn't quite placed where he wants it to be. Defenses realize he's not going to throw these over the middle routes, so they shade towards his go balls outside and they shut him down. This is a concept we've talked about before, 9-8-9. Payton calls it doubles, where on the route tree, the 2 9s are for go routes and the 8 is for a post. But if there's a 1 high safety, you don't want the post running right into him, so the post can convert into a dig. The Texans start in 2 high, so the goes outside aren't as likely to be open, and Jerry Jeudy will convert his route to a post to split him. But then they shift to 1 high at the snap. But watch Jalen Petre. He knows Russ isn't throwing over the middle, bolts to the sideline, almost intercepting the pass. The second part of the Russ offense is play-action shot plays, which means deep passes off play action. Picture his deep bombs flying through the air, landing 50 yards down the field in Tyler Lockett or Doug Baldwin's hands. This is why he's so deadly when coupled with a good ground game, because you can pair these concepts off of all the different run schemes. However, one of the keys to these shot plays was a deep-rooted chemistry, where Lockett would read the coverage based on leverage, positioning, momentum, and Russ knew where he was gonna be. But then switching teams after 10 years in Seattle, he never found that same chemistry with Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. He completed 2.3% less of his passes on play action than non-play action. For almost every quarterback, play action creates easier reads, and there are fewer defenders in the way since the second level is attacking the run fake. Yet Russ couldn't connect like he used to, and a big part of that was the lack of chemistry. Here's the hard play action, but Russ has to maneuver the pass rush. And when he resets, look at where each receiver is. It is not part of the scheme concept for Jeudy to run away from the safety Derwin James, but Russ reads the open space and throws him open back shoulder, but Jeudy reads it too late, drops the ball, and now he's on the Browns. These roll-around play-action concepts Russ used to cook on now have left him starving, So Payton tried to rein him in a bit and attack with more in-structure play action, but it didn't work. This is XZ read, which we just talked about last week. Both receivers run read routes where the running goes, but if they have a defender over the top, they'll sit down at about 18 yards. The Lions have a double cat blitz, both corners coming, and Russ processes the read route just a hair late and gets absolutely drilled. Pause. He struggles with anticipation in structure, and Payton needs a quarterback who gets to the top of his drop and lets her rip. If Russ feels the pressure and anticipates Judy coming out of his break right when he's hitting his back foot, he is getting this ball off, but he takes just a small load step and the play is dead. Payton tried to run more classic play action concepts with him, where you're creating a stretch on the safety, who usually has to sit back for the post, and then the play action sucks up the linebackers, but Russ doesn't attack the middle of the field and doesn't take the easy gimmies. On a similar concept that's not play action, watch what happens. Payton's installed the clear out post, the deep over, and his tight end Adam Troutman sit underneath to hold the linebackers in place. This is designed to go to one place and one place only. Payton has it set up perfectly, but Russ, with a clean pocket, just immediately checks the ball down and doesn't let the concept breathe, wasting Payton's play design. It's easier for defenses to scheme things up when you know the quarterback isn't going to work the middle of the field and isn't going to do so with anticipation. They have another crossing route off play action which comes open under the deep safety, and watch what the Texans do. They have a scheme for this very concept where P-Tray is going to cut the crosser and Jimmy Ward will replace him. Russ still has Sutton open if he hits his back foot and lets it go, and the reason this doesn't work goes even deeper. Almost every offense has a counter for this concept where the receiver whips back out to attack the rotation and sit down in this open space. But because Russ doesn't target over the middle, it's just not a call Sean Payton can make, and Russ gets chased down from behind. Which is our third category. He used to dominate scrambling around or picking up yards on the ground, but ever since the second half of his final season in Seattle back in 2021, he just hasn't had the same explosiveness with his legs, and he isn't the same threat running the ball and extending the play that he used to be. He still takes a ton of sacks because he's still trying to extend the play. This is what he's always known, and you can see it piss off the Broncos offensive line in real time. Watch Mike McGlinchey. He's trying to preserve the pocket, and he does a good job. He's making sure Josh Uche can't cut back inside to attack the integrity of the pocket. He's in perfect position in between Russ and the defender, but when Russ fails to sit in the clean pocket and starts moving, McGlinchey has his back turned, so he's still trying to protect inside, but then Russ runs right into a sack. Because of his struggles operating a normal offense and his own style of offense, Payton had to dumb his scheme down, which limited everybody. You can tell a coach doesn't trust his quarterback when he's installing mirrored concepts into the game plan, which means each side of the play is the exact same. You're basically saying, our quarterback cannot progress back towards the middle and or backside of the field, it's just pick a side pre-snap. This limits the offense because you're not attacking the whole field, just one side, just one half of the defense. On 3rd and 13, Payton calls mirrored deep outs with 2 chips in protection that'll then run to the flats. The reason why this is such a limited play call is because once Russ sees that neither route is open, he can't then come back to the other because they both come open at the same time. Also, usually concepts will have like a cover 3 beater to one side and a cover 2 beater to the other. So if Russ reads cover 3 pre-snap, but then they rotate, he'll still have an option. But this call is beating one coverage or nothing. And what's even crazier, pre-snap it shouldn't work at all. The Bills are showing cover 2 zone with 2 deep and 2 flat defenders, which should swallow up these deep outs. So pre-snap, this is doomed from the get-go. But luckily at the snap, they roll into cover 3, which these deep outs should beat, because the receivers are pushing the bailing corners deep, then cutting underneath. But in my opinion, neither receiver runs his route hard enough to threaten these corners. And since Russ can't progress across the field, the Broncos have to punt. I will say this year wasn't all his fault. His offensive line was atrocious, constantly allowing instantaneous pressure, and his receivers really didn't do much to elevate the offense. They dropped passes, they just weren't the playmakers they were billed to be, so I don't think this is all on the quarterback. He's going to a much better situation with some promising young receivers he can hopefully develop a rapport with, a much better offensive line, and Arthur Smith, whose bread and butter is the hard run game with the deep shot play action concepts. Russ will need to find much better chemistry with his receivers, and quick, so I don't think Mr. Unlimited is necessarily done. However, I'll tell you this, the Steelers will be running his offense, cause he can't run anything else, and if he has anything left, if he can find the old version of Russell Wilson in any way, it's worked before, and it could definitely work again.